Self love as a survival strategy and how you can open up to a flow of more love, see yourself, your blind spots, the potential that is in you, and really pull up the potential so you can be more of yourself. More of yourself means protecting yourself and being able to navigate through this world to win. This is what I'm all about. If you're new here, hi, my name is Joanna Fatonji. I am a strategic coach for women in corporate and in business. This is all about power. So don't mistake just because we're talking about love, self love, psychological principles. This is all tools for survival and ultimately learning how to thrive in the world that we live in, which is conditioned by patriarchy, capitalism, and classism. And me as a brown woman, I'm very much aware of that. I come from a history of business. I studied international business. I come from a white mother and a black father. This was my first experience of power dynamics, race, privilege, and all of the dynamics that happened in that relationship, but also, as I said, studying international business, and later on I studied health and especially personal transformation, which is all about gaining more power, self agency, and understanding the game of power so you can win in this game of life. Just a little context. So let's dive right into the topic of today. So, this episode, we're working on the tools of mastery that build a more consistent experience of self love. We discover this when we fall in love with ourselves, right? When we fall in love with the spirit, with our life force energy, with our pleasure, with our own feeling of feeling good and alive in our bodies in this life. It's so important to feel that because, again, speaking from a level of maybe being traumatized, being victimized, growing up in a abusive household or a poor household, or not understanding this world. And a part of understanding this world is understanding power dynamics, and most of the time those power dynamics have already been present in our family. So in order to get to a more solid and sovereign space within ourselves, we want to first learn to love all of ourselves. That's that's the task here today. So when we do that, we learn how to master ourselves, right? We want to stabilize this experience of self-love without having to look for someone outside of us or something outside of us to give us that love, because we all need love. We're looking for love. We're looking for love. I believe it's the number one quest for most people, and especially women in this life, is to find love, and the love is inside of you. So it's not a love like based on like who we are with or what we are going through in life, but an experience of love, meaning the love inside of us. Yeah. Whether you're religious, right? In many religions, it said God, that the kingdom of God is within us, which is love, right? Heaven is love. It's a state of love. Paradise is a state of love, of joy. That's what we can find inside of us. So when you are in a relationship with your true essence, this is where we harness the experience of love. And this is what we can bring into this life, right? To be very practical, if you love yourself, you come from a healed place, and then you can make true changes in the world, in relationships, in society, in the economy, in politics, whatever you choose to engage in. When you come from a healed place, when you accept yourself, when you love yourself, only then you are in integrity with yourself and you can truly affect positive change. If you don't fully love yourself, you are going to perpetuate toxic patterns in the world. So that is very important to me, and I hope to you too. So today we are diving into a um, how do you call it, a modality of Abraham Maslow. Abraham Maslow and the Johari window. It was used to help people discover how to live in their deepest and fullest potential. Right? Maslow was most interested in people who reported that they loved their life. I think that's very interesting. This is where this whole concept of positive psychology came from. So Maslow was most interested in people who loved their life. He wanted to better understand what was at work in people who had a deep and powerful love for their lives, right? Regardless of the circumstances. So, this is a picture that Abraham Maslow developed as if you and I were to stand outside of ourselves. So again, I always like to say all of my videos are masterclasses. It's not just for entertainment. I am putting you to work. Okay. So here is the Johari window. And again, it's about you looking at yourself, right? How you can see yourself more. I'm sure you've heard about blind spots. Every one of us, we have blind spots. And this concept will help us to see ourselves more clearly. So I want to show you, this is how it looks like. So if you want, you can also take a piece of paper. Here it says open, blind, hidden, and unknown potential. Again, open, blind, hidden, and unknown potential. Okay, so you can draw this for yourself. I'm going through that. And again, it's an exercise of you getting to know yourself more. More self awareness is more power, right? It's not only about this lofty concept of love, it's about power. It's about knowing yourself, it's about knowing your weaknesses, your desires, your potential, and gaining more awareness about how other people see you. I think this is the most interesting part. So, you have on the left side, on the upper left side, you have the open. This is the part that you're willing to let others see, right? That's the size of that open window. This is what you let others see about you. Right? All of that is you, but the openness is where you're open. What do you let others see about you? Family, friends, society, social media, work colleagues, all of that. Some people are very limited in that. They don't share the opinions, they don't share the political views, they don't share their beliefs, they don't share what truly moves them, right? So ask yourself, what is it that you share with others openly about yourself, who you are, what you think, what you feel, what your convictions are? Most people are very blocked in this area because they are afraid of disapproval, right? Many people don't dare to show more of themselves because they are afraid of disapproval. And this is what we see. I especially work with women in leadership, in corporate, and in business. And most women are afraid to truly show themselves on social media because they are afraid of disapproval. Because the more you share about yourself, the more vulnerable you make yourself, the more you share about where you could get attacked, right? The more important things you show about yourself, the more you could get attacked for your beliefs and your view on the world. The second is hidden. Below the open is the hidden on the bottom left. This is the part of you that you do not let others see, right? That is hidden, it's private. It might be secret fears. Again, it might be fantasies. It might be certain things that I don't let other people know about, right? Some things should be kept private. You're not meant to let everybody see everything about you. But the more you have hidden here, the more you can't connect with people, right? Everything on the left side are things you know about yourself. This is conscious to you. The open part is what you dare to show and share with others. The hidden part is what you consciously keep back, what you consciously hide from others, right? So the size of each quadrant varies. Your open quadrant may take up 20% of the left side, and the hidden may take up 80. I'm going to do that, right? I'm going to show you how that would look like. Okay, so maybe it looks like that. All right, let's see. Okay, so this is open, this is hidden, this is 100%, this is the left side. And for example, you have, like I now have like a very balanced ratio, but let's pretend that you only share 20%. You only share this much of yourself with the outside world, and the rest, the 80%, is what you keep hidden. Yeah? Okay, good. So you get to decide how much disclosure, how much transparency, how much willingness you bring to a relationship or let others really know about you. Again, I'm going to speak a little bit in the context of business and uh, also personal branding and social media, because it's very important to also assess how much of myself do I need to share, or is strategically important for me to share, because you do not have to share much, right? But you will have to share the most important things to the curation of your own brand, and also what is necessary in order for people to build trust with you. My suggestion here is, again, think about it. You don't have to share everything, especially in a professional context, but you will have to share something. So ask yourself, how open am I? Right? This is not ideal to be 100% open. A healthy person has a reserve of certain things that they're just keeping back. It's just for themselves and the closest people to you. It's very important, especially in a professional positioning. If your hidden private window, right, the hidden is over like 20 to 30, you've got a whole lot going on that people do not know about, right? Take a self assessment. How open are you? How much do you keep hidden? Right? If it's more than 20 to 30%, ask yourself, has that created relationships that you want? Right? Has that created an experience of loving yourself and others in a way that has produced a life that is deep, relationships that are deep, powerful, and just feel good? Again, we can differentiate in business and personal, right? In business, again, you have to be strategic about the things you disclose, because you have to disclose something in order to be trustworthy. So people see you as more of a whole person. People will have to see your beliefs, what you believe in, what you stand for. That's very important in terms of building a personal brand, in terms of building trust. If you are in a private setting and actually want to create more of a connection with somebody, you will have to disclose a little bit more, because the more you truly share, the more opportunity there is to connect. But also here, it's very important, and I'm going to say that the more you share, the more vulnerable you make yourself. Vulnerability is important to connect, but it is definitely also always a potential to be hurt and to be taken advantage of. So where we are blocked of fear for other people's disapproval, we are blocked from also approval and connection, right? This is mastery in love, and we are learning mastery techniques, strategies, and ways of being that help us open. It's important to open, right? We don't have to create, or we don't have to create more love in ourselves or in life. We just need to learn to open to the love that is already there. And again, when I speak about love, it's not romantic love. It can be clients, it can be friends, right? The more you share of yourself, the more opportunity there is for others to connect with you, and vice versa. The flow of love requires openness. Okay, good. So now we have the other side, blind and the unknown potential. Okay, so the right side. And the blind is the blind spot. Sometimes I like to say for most women, the blind spot is the human conditioning, actually believing or assuming that people are evil. I'm going to say that about myself. I believe that most people are actually more evil than they are good, because most people do not work on themselves, and most people are driven by the lower nature, by greed, by jealousy, by envy, by sex, by lust, right? So people are mainly very selfish, and I stand by that, right? I really stand by that. People are mainly very selfish, and one thing that I believe is that especially women, good-hearted women, women who have been through the good girl conditioning, that those women need to learn that this is actually what most people are, right? More selfish, more evil. I will call it evil. And you have to assess everybody, including yourself. And that's what we're diving into. So the blind spot is also what other people see about you that you don't see, right? You probably think you're projecting something into the world, but that's not all of you. Yeah, that's the blind spot. People see things about you that you do not see about yourself. All of us have blind spots, and this is why we need, especially a coach, a trusted mentor, an advisor, somebody that you truly trust. Maybe it's also a family member or somebody in your close group of friends, right, that will tell you those things. This is not negative. It's just the nature of us needing one another as a mirror, as a reflective support system for helping each other to wake up to more of ourselves, right? This whole Johari window is about illumination. It's about awareness, becoming more self-aware. So you might ask people for feedback. How much of your blind spots would you be willing to know about? How much are you willing to know about? Because again, the thing that most people are afraid of is feedback, because this is all about feedback, right? We do things that are not correct. We show up in a way that is not conscious to us, right? So if you show up in a way that is not conscious to you, it will sabotage your success. So you would need feedback. It depends on who to get it from. And I think it's very important to discriminate who you get it from, but it's important to get feedback. You can also learn to become more conscious and self aware by observing yourself and how others react to you. That's important, how men react to you, how women react to you. And in my context, it's also about how Black people react to you, how Chinese people react to you, how white people react to you, how Indian people react to you, how men, women, and then all of the nuances intermixed between that. How rich people react to you, how poor people react to you, how uneducated people react to you, how educated people react to you. Really see and make it a test, a living experiment. How do people react to you? This is how you can become more conscious of yourself, assess yourself more, right? So it's very important. This is the part what it can be a little painful. Mm, but this is a part where you will become more and more aware of who you are. It's feedback, and feedback makes you grow. And if you want, especially if you want to grow as a leader, if you want to grow as a business personality, you will have to have that feedback, because it can literally stunt your growth, stunt your sales, stunt your income, and ultimately stunt the success of your the success of your business. Okay, so open yourself to feedback. There's a saying, feedback is the breakfast of champions, and it's true, because it's uncomfortable, and only people who are willing to grow take that feedback. The next thing here is the unknown potential. The unknown potential is a reservoir of all of the things that are already inside of you, but are yet undiscovered. You don't know exactly what that is, nor does anyone else. This is in the unknown area. It's potential, potential, power, its presence. And you can learn more about yourself while living, but also by being inquisitive and asking yourself, how do I open myself up, right, to the blindness? As we said, ask for feedback from people you trust. You and I are not going to be perfect in our loving, but there is a perfect love that is within each of us, right? We are human, and this is potential creation, right? Living our full potential is to build the capacity to be more of our potential. Asking somebody to help us see the blind areas opens us up to a greater flow of who we are. Right? Opening yourself up for your potential. This is where the magic is, right? This is where the unknown potential is. And here, again, we made this line before, right? This is the self assessment. You put it on paper, and here I put the dotted line. You remember, here is the 20%, here's the 80%. And now we are creating another dotted line about how much you think, how much you have of a blind spot and the unknown. So put a vertical dotted line, yeah, to the right of the center, to the right of the center, yes. And then draw this all the way across the box. Mm. So hidden unknown potential, put a horizontal dotted line where you think your window actually extends. Draw this line all across down. So horizontal dotted line where you think your open window actually extends. Yes. Draw this all the way across the box. Yes. Put a vertical dotted line to the right of the center line through the blind box, showing how much you would be willing to see about yourself. And draw this line all the way to the bottom of the box. Okay. So blind, and then we want to show more. I think for me, I'm very open. I'm very open to see more about me. So that would look like that. Okay, so 20%, 80%, and here maybe we have is more open, maybe 45, no, 55 or 60%, and then 40%. Okay, so this is the self assessment, right? This is where it all intersects, but I'm going to finish the task, right? So it's for you to see where you are. So the horizontal dotted line and the vertical dotted line automatically intersect. Does yours intersect with the box of the unknown potential? Or where is it? The more open you are and the more willing you are to see your blind areas, the more you will be able to tap in and open up your unknown potential. Yeah, without judgment. Yeah, take a look at where it is now and notice that even if you move it just a little tiny bit, the amount of unknown potential that is released in your life can be exponential. Yeah, I'm definitely open to release all of that, right? So also for you, ask yourself, where can I be more open? Yeah, how can I be more open with myself? Yeah, how can I find a greater understanding of my blind areas? Again, by asking somebody or working with a coach, working with a mentor. Yeah, this mastery in love means being willing to be open. Yeah. When we open ourselves more, and again, I want to put it into the context of business and showing up online, but also showing up in your personal relationships. Also, in mind with, I wouldn't personally suggest to be too vulnerable because people tend to take advantage of vulnerable people. This is for you. This exercise is more for you. It's not about you taking the test now and then running to somebody and then telling them about you, or running on social media or to your business page or whatever and then tell people about you. Because one thing that I have learned is, not everybody deserves to know you, right? People have to earn to get to know you. Everything else is your conscious curation of what people get to see. And this also should be not come from a level of fear, but more of an understanding, of a wisdom, and also a necessity, right? We don't need to over inform people. It's too much information. And we live in a time and space, especially on social media, where too many people are sharing way too much, and that's not necessary. And especially that's not professional. But use this to get to know yourself more, right? When we want to be more open, now we are opening ourselves more up. It is really more about you getting to know yourself more, because I believe the more you know about your unknown potential, which is your real self, your true power, your this is the continuous work of your life, because we will never get to the bottom of our own potential, because there's always more. And I believe that, especially the people that I'm talking to, our biggest fear is to not fulfill our potential in this life, because we know that there's so much inside of us, so much inside of us, and we want to bring all of this out. If that's you, comment down below. Yeah. So it's very important for you to assess yourself, find your unknown potential, and really dive deep into yourself, right? Being open to loving yourself. And if we speak about love, again, we can also say awareness, right? Love is like a light, right? Love is this light. It's all enveloping, it's warm. We feel good and calm and peaceful in love. But this can also be translated to awareness, right? If you love yourself more, that means you become more aware of yourself, and you dare to shine the light of awareness onto the parts of yourself that are hidden, meaning you start seeing something about yourself that up until now you haven't been able to see. So dare to look at your potential. Dare to look at the power inside of you. Dare to look what is already present inside of you that you have up until now not put a focus on. The same thing about the blind spot, right? Dare to observe yourself. Dare to really see how other people see you. Dare to ask people for feedback about you, right? Dare to ask people that are not your friends, maybe your colleagues or acquaintances or people you just see occasionally. Dare to ask them how you come across, and if that's in alignment with how you want to come across, because sometimes that's totally fine, right? Sometimes that's totally fine. If you don't like what you hear, you can assess. Not all feedback is good feedback, not all feedback is true, but it's definitely a person's perception of you. And then you can match and see how you want to take it, integrate it, or discard it. Yeah. So self love is what enables us to be more open, right? Also, using me as an example. For many people, public speaking is absolutely horrible, but it's because they don't know themselves. And because they don't know themselves, they are afraid of the judgment of others. But what if you love yourself, if you are self aware? Right? I'm going to use that interchangeably. If you're self aware, if you are more aware of yourself, you will dare to show up because you know yourself and you are aware of yourself and you are okay with the level of self awareness that you have. And you dare to even make mistakes publicly because you have a foundation of self love. As I said, self love as a survival and a success strategy. It's not just some lofty thing, it's a real success strategy. Being able to speak up, being able to speak up for yourself, daring to show up on a public platform, daring to share your opinions, what you stand for, promoting your business, making a sale, inviting people into your community. All of those things come from a level of self understanding, self awareness, and self love. Right? Self love is what gives me the willingness to be open to you and share with you what may have been hidden inside of me. Right? Self love is what gives me the willingness to turn to you and say, would you give me your feedback? right? You have to have a level of self awareness, self love, self acceptance to actually ask for feedback. There are so many people that I think about in this moment that have never asked me for feedback because they're probably afraid. Friends, family, or old friends and family who know that I'm a coach, but most people don't want feedback because it could be possibly devastating. Even that, we learn to give feedback, but I believe that the best feedback is the most honest feedback. And if people know you as an honest person, probably people will not want your feedback. So that's just true, but we're learning to be professional here. So when we open ourselves up, we come to open ourselves up to more of our own divinity. We accept ourselves. And as I said in the last video, because this is video 3 of the love series, what I said in the last video is that love and real self-love is really about loving and accepting your own shadow. And one thing that I am very, very keen about is that I believe that women love power and that women want to control, and they want to especially control their own lives, their own bodies, their own decisions, their own life choices, their own finances, their own time. I believe in sovereignty. I believe that this is what every woman wants. I believe that because women have been suppressed and oppressed for a very long time, culturally, right, societally, and we're still in the baby shoes of power. I think we constantly have to remind ourselves that we are here to be powerful, meaning having agency, again, making decisions, ask for what we want in every relationship, also in business, in our salary, in our prices in business, and be sovereign, right? That comes from a true level of self love, which includes self awareness and being aware of your human needs for food, clothes, and shelter, being able to pay your bills, being able to afford a nice home, to be able to afford going to nice places like the gym, like different other membership clubs, being able to invest in personal and professional development, being able to learn and grow more in capacity, in power, in influence, and ultimately in equity, in money, in land, in property, right? In real tangible assets. That's what I believe, that this is what we find at the end of the self-awareness journey, or if there's ever an end. But this is what I believe that most women don't dare to get to. I didn't want to take the discovery phase for you away, because you will still find things inside of you that you're coming into awareness of. But I just wanted to finish this off with a practical, real life, tangible thing, right? Because self-love, again, is not just some lofty thing. It's a real strategic move in order to create a life and a business that you truly love, because it compensates you for, first of all, what you are aware of, what you bring to the table, whether it is your skills, your awareness, your perception, your point of view, right? Your communication skills, your negotiation skills, your level to affect change, right? All of these things, you will first have to discover them inside of you. Again, most people will give you feedback, but one other truth is that many people don't know you as well as you know yourself. So you have to claim your own power for yourself without the validation of others. But once you know those things about yourself, put your best foot forward and share that, so it can become validated by others, because others can only pay you if you actually look like you can create the results that you think that you can create with your skills. Good. All right, so open yourself up to your unknown potential and ask yourself, where can I be more open? How can I open myself to a greater understanding of my own blind spots? Right, take at least one action steps toward opening yourself up to your unknown potential through greater openness, through greater awareness, or revealing yourself to your blind spots through the feedback of others. Good. So again, very, very important. I like to repeat myself, but I think it's very important, especially with this topic. It's not only about love as a lofty kind of sweet thing, but it's really about self awareness and illuminating your power so you know who you are. You have to know who you are in order to become more protected even in this world. You can't walk around this world naive and la 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 la, not knowing anything about you or not knowing anything about other people's human nature, because this is a number one sure way how you're going to get trapped, underpaid, undervalued, and at the bottom. Just to be real, okay? And that's not what we're trying to do here. So I'm looking forward to hear from you. Write down in the comments below, and if you're really ready to take this work deeper and actually create a customized one on one solution for you to get ahead in corporate or in business, contact me in the links down below. You will find the link to the membership. You will find the link to my calendar to book a one on one call for a strategy session, or you can apply for the next cohort of the Life Mastery program, and I'm looking forward to see you there. All right. Until then, take charge, because a powerful woman always takes action.